The massive Imperial ship emerged from hyperspace near Jupiter, its golden hull gleaming in the distant sunlight. On its bridge, First Speaker Wren adjusted his ceremonial robes and smiled. Another primitive world to add to the Empire's collection, or so he thought. "Sensors, report on the third planet," he commanded. "Sir," detecting unusual energy readings, the sensor officer replied, frowning at his screens. There appear to be artificial satellites and defensive installations. Wren's smile faded. This wasn't in their intelligence reports. Primitive worlds weren't supposed to have orbital defenses. Before he could process this information, a clear message came through their communication system. "Attention Imperial vessel. This is Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted space. State your purpose or withdraw immediately." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. No primitive species had ever detected them this quickly, let alone issued demands. Wren straightened his back and activated the communications channel. "This is First Speaker Wren of the Galactic Empire. We come to offer your world membership in our great civilization. Prepare to receive our diplomatic team." The response came instantly. "Negative, Imperial vessel. No landing is authorized. Our scans detect weapon systems powered up on your ship. This is a violation of first contact protocols." Wren's face turned purple with rage. How dare these primitives question the Empire? He was about to issue a harsh reply when Admiral Thomas of Earth Defense Command appeared on their main screen. The human wore a simple blue uniform with minimal decorations, but his stance showed confidence. "First Speaker," Thomas said calmly, "our quantum scanners have mapped every inch of your vessel. We know about the assault troops in your lower decks. We know about the hidden weapon systems. This is not how you conduct peaceful first contact." The bridge fell silent. Their stealth systems had never failed before. Wren felt sweat forming on his forehead, but maintained his imperial dignity. "You dare question the Empire's intentions. We bring civilization to primitive worlds. Your resistance is primitive." Admiral Thomas interrupted, allowing himself a small smile. "Let me demonstrate something." Suddenly, dozens of previously invisible defense platforms appeared around the Imperial ship. They had been there all along, completely undetected by Imperial sensors. "These are just our older defense platforms," Thomas explained. "The new ones, you still can't see them. Now let me be clear. Earth is not interested in joining your empire. We've been watching you for decades. We know how you treat your member worlds. We're not impressed." Wren's hands gripped his command chair. This was impossible. No species had ever rejected the Empire. And their surveillance, their technology. This changed everything. "You cannot refuse the Empire," Wren declared, though his voice wavered slightly. "We offer you one chance to reconsider before we—" "Before you what?" Thomas asked quietly. "Launch the invasion fleet hiding behind Jupiter's third moon. They're currently surrounded by our automated defense systems. Would you like me to demonstrate those as well?" Wren's face went pale. They hadn't told anyone about the backup fleet. Even their most sophisticated cloaking technology had failed against these humans. "This is your final warning," Thomas continued. "Remove your forces from our solar system. Earth is not interested in your empire. We value our independence. If you attempt any hostile action, we will respond with full force. You have 1 hour to comply." The screen went dark, leaving a stunned Imperial crew staring at the suddenly visible defense platforms surrounding them. Wren collapsed in his chair, his mind racing. In all his years of expanding the Empire, no one had ever detected their true intentions, let alone possessed the technology to render their most advanced systems useless. "Sir," his second-in-command asked nervously, "your orders?" Wren looked at the defense platforms, knowing there were more he couldn't see. For the first time in Imperial history, a first speaker gave the order to retreat. As the Imperial ships fled the solar system, Admiral Thomas watched from Earth Defense Command. "They'll be back," he said to his staff. "And we'll be ready." He looked at the classified reports on his desk. Decades of preparation, hidden technological advances, and detailed plans. Humanity had known this day would come. They had prepared well. The Empire had just made its first mistake. It wouldn't be its last. 3 days after the first contact disaster, the Imperial High Council gathered in their golden chamber on the capital world. First Speaker Wren stood before them, his pride wounded but his anger burning hot. "These humans must be taught their place," he declared. "I propose we send the diplomatic fleet." Everyone in the chamber knew that the diplomatic fleet was anything but diplomatic. It was a massive show of force designed to frighten new worlds into submission. The council quickly approved the mission. Back on Earth, Director Walker sat in the underground command center, watching the quantum sensor feeds. The array of holographic displays showed everything happening within 50 light-years of Earth. She noticed unusual activity near the Empire's borders. "Admiral Thomas," she called, "they're mobilizing the fleet we expected." Thomas nodded, studying the tactical display. "Right on schedule." "How many ships?" 200 vessels, including their newest dreadnought. Walker zoomed in on the massive Imperial flagship. They're not even trying to hide their weapons this time. Thomas pressed a button on his command chair, connecting to Earth's defense grid. "Initialize Operation Lockdown. Let's show them why picking a fight with Earth was a bad idea." The Imperial diplomatic fleet emerged from hyperspace in a perfect formation. Leading them was High Commander Dax, known throughout the Empire for his successful conquests of resistant worlds. "Display our full might," Dax commanded. "Let these humans see what true power looks like." The Imperial ships spread out in an impressive battle formation, their golden hulls reflecting sunlight. Weapon ports opened, shields shimmed with energy, and fighters launched into space. It was a display that had brought hundreds of worlds to their knees. Earth's response was simple: nothing. No reaction from their defense platforms, Dax's officer reported, sounding confused. "In fact, I can't detect their platforms anymore." Dax frowned. "Impossible. They must be here somewhere. Launch probe droids." The probe droids shot out into space. Suddenly, they all stopped moving. Then they disappeared. "What just happened?" Dax demanded. His answer came in the form of Admiral Thomas appearing on every screen in the Imperial fleet simultaneously. "Looking for something, Commander Dax. You, how dare you hack our secure channels?" Dax's face turned red with anger. Thomas smiled. "Hack? We own your channels. We own this entire sector of space. Look around you." The Imperial crews watched in horror as a strange blue field became visible, surrounding their entire fleet. They hadn't even noticed it forming. "This is a quantum containment field," Thomas explained calmly. "Your ships can't move. Your weapons can't fire. Your communications can't reach the Empire. You're in our playground now." Dax slammed his fist on his command console. "You think this will hold the Imperial fleet? We have the most powerful ships in the galaxy." "Had," Director Walker corrected, appearing beside Thomas. "Right now, you have very expensive space ornaments. Would you like to see what real power looks like?" She pressed a button. Suddenly, small dots of light appeared all around the Imperial fleet. Each dot expanded into a massive Earth warship, each one larger than the Imperial dreadnought. "These ships have been here since before you arrived," Walker explained. "Our quantum stealth technology is generations ahead of your sensors. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment you arrived. Instead, we're giving you a choice." Thomas leaned forward. "You have 1 hour to power down your weapons and prepare for escort out of our solar system. If you comply, you all get to go home. If you don't..." He let the threat hang in the air. Dax looked at his tactical display. His weapons were dead. His engines were offline. The mighty Imperial fleet was trapped like insects in amber, surrounded by ships that made his dreadnought look tiny. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We are the Empire. We cannot be defeated by humans." Walker finished for him. "You should have done your homework. We've been preparing for threats like you for centuries. Now, what's your choice? Stand down, or find out exactly how much firepower these ships carry." Dax looked at his proud fleet, now helpless in space. For the second time in a week, the Empire was forced to retreat from Earth. As the Imperial ships limped away under Earth escort, Thomas turned to Walker. "Think they'll try again?" Walker checked her quantum feeds. "They're already planning something bigger." "Good. Let them come. Each defeat makes them weaker." The Empire had just learned a harsh lesson about human capabilities, but some lessons have to be taught more than once. The Imperial Intelligence Chief paced nervously in front of the High Council. The latest reports from Earth had shocked everyone. "Our spies have discovered something disturbing," he began. "Earth isn't just one world. They have colonies. Many colonies. Hidden ones." The council chamber erupted in confused whispers. First Speaker Wren stood up. "Impossible. Our surveys show no human colonies in known space." The intelligence chief activated a holographic display. "That's because we were looking in the wrong place with the wrong technology. Look at this." The display showed a massive space station appearing out of nowhere near Alpha Centauri, then another near Sirius, and another in the Pleiades cluster. Each one was bigger than the Empire's largest space dock. "They've been building these for over 100 years, the intelligence chief explained. "Their quantum technology makes them completely invisible to our sensors. We only found out because one of our ships accidentally crashed into a quantum field." In Earth's Strategic Command, Grand Marshal Peters watched the Empire's reaction through their quantum spy network. He turned to Admiral Thomas. "They've finally noticed our colonies, right on schedule." Thomas nodded, studying the live feed from their Pleiades shipyards. Massive warships were under construction, their quantum drives pulsing with blue energy. "Should we show them the rest?" "Not yet," Peters replied. "Let's see how they handle this first piece of news." Back in the Imperial Council chamber, the situation was getting worse. More reports were coming in. "Their quantum technology isn't just for hiding things," the intelligence chief continued. "They've developed quantum computers that make our best systems look like children's toys. Their AI networks." He paused, looking pale. "What about their AI networks?" Wren demanded. "They're at least 50 years ahead of ours, maybe more. Their defensive systems don't just react to threats, they predict them before they happen. That's how they knew about our hidden fleet at Jupiter. That's how they're always one step ahead." The council members looked at each other in growing fear. For thousands of years, the Empire had been the most advanced civilization in known space. Now they were discovering that humans had surpassed them in nearly every way. Meanwhile, Director Walker was giving a tour of Earth's newest defense installation to Lord Maxwell, Earth's chief diplomat. They stood in a massive underground chamber, watching holographic displays of Earth's defensive network. "The quantum grid now covers every human world and colony," Walker explained. "No Imperial ship can get within a light year without us knowing. And with our new predictive AI," she gestured to a complex display of possible future events. Maxwell studied the predictions. "They're going to try something desperate, aren't they?" "Yes," Walker smiled. "But that's exactly what we want. Show them enough to make them panic, but not enough to make them give up. The Empire needs to learn its lesson the hard way." In a secret Imperial research facility, scientists were frantically studying everything they knew about human technology. The facility's director reported directly to High Commander Dax. "Their quantum technology is beyond our understanding," the director admitted. "They're not just hiding their ships and colonies. They're manipulating space itself. Our weapons can't hit what they can't reach, and they can reach us anywhere." Dax slammed his fist on the table. "There must be a weakness. They're just humans." "That's just it, sir," the director said quietly. "We've been studying their history. These just humans survived thousands of wars, countless disasters, and still reached the stars. They'd been preparing for threats like us since they first looked up at the sky. Everything we throw at them, they've already thought of a defense against. On Earth, Thomas received an urgent message from their quantum detection grid. Sir, the Empire is mobilizing their entire home fleet. Over 1,000 ships. Peters looked at the tactical display and smiled. Good. Time to show them why that's a terrible idea. He pressed a button on his command console. Activate all colonial defense grids. Let's give the Empire a proper demonstration of human ingenuity. Across human space, hidden quantum beacons began to pulse. The Empire was about to learn that humanity's technological edge was sharper than they could have imagined. And much, much deadlier. The largest fleet in Imperial history dropped out of hyperspace near Mars. 1,200 warships filled the space between Mars and Earth, their golden hulls blocking out the stars. High Commander Dax stood proudly on his new command ship, twice the size of his previous dreadnought. Let's see their quantum tricks handle this, he said, looking at the blue planet ahead. All ships, battle formation. Launch all fighters. 20,000 Imperial fighters poured out of the capital ships, filling space with their lethal presence. The Empire's most powerful weapons were charged and ready. This time, they wouldn't bother with warnings or demands. In Earth Defense Command, Admiral Thomas watched calmly. Director Walker stood beside him, monitoring the quantum defense grid. They'd brought their entire home fleet, Walker noted, just as predicted. Thomas nodded. Time to show them why that was a mistake. Activate Defense Plan Omega. The Imperial fleet pressed forward, expecting resistance. Instead, they found nothing. No defense platforms, no Earth ships, no quantum fields. Where are their defenses? Dax demanded. Scan everything. Sir, his sensor officer called out, we're detecting something strange in Earth's atmosphere. Energy readings are. Suddenly, Earth's atmosphere began to glow blue. Thousands of points of light appeared, spreading across the planet like a web of stars. Then the web pulsed. A massive quantum wave exploded outward from Earth. When it touched the first line of Imperial fighters, they simply disappeared. Not destroyed. They vanished as if they had never existed. What's happening? Dax shouted as the wave approached his fleet. The quantum wave passed through the Imperial ships. When it cleared, Dax stared in horror at his tactical display. Half of his fighters were gone. 300 capital ships had vanished. The ones that remained had lost all power. Their weapons, Walker explained over all Imperial channels, are now part of Earth's defense network. Your ship's energy systems now power our quantum grid. Welcome to humanity's real defense system. The space around the Imperial fleet shimmered. Massive Earth warships appeared, their quantum drives pulsing with power. But these weren't like the ships the Empire had seen before. These were planet killers. You thought we showed you everything. Thomas's voice filled every Imperial ship. Those defense platforms, those smaller ships, they were just to make you overconfident, to make you bring your entire fleet here. More Earth ships appeared, each one emerging from quantum space like giants waking from sleep. They surrounded the Imperial fleet completely. Sir, Dax's tactical officer screamed. Their weapons, they're powered by our own ship's energy. We can't shut them down. On his command display, Dax watched helplessly as Earth's quantum network took control of his fleet's power systems. One by one, Imperial ships went dark, their energy feeding into Earth's weapons. This is impossible, he whispered. Our fleet, our power. Let me explain what's happening. Walker's voice was calm, almost teaching. Your ships are now part of our defense grid. Your energy systems are powering our weapons. Your advanced technology belongs to us. You have two choices, surrender or be erased from space-time itself. To demonstrate, one of Earth's planet killers fired a quantum beam at an Imperial cruiser. The ship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, along with the space it had occupied. That's what happens when we unmake matter, Thomas explained. Your ships don't explode. They never were. Now, Commander Dax, What's your choice? Dax looked at his fleet, more than half destroyed or powered down. His remaining ships were helpless, their energy stolen by Earth's quantum technology. The mighty Imperial fleet had become nothing more than power cells for human weapons. We surrender, he said, his voice breaking. Wise choice, Thomas replied. You will be escorted out of human space. Any ship that returns will be unmade. The Empire's invasion of Earth is over. As the defeated Imperial ships limped away under Earth escort, Walker turned to Thomas. Think they finally learned their lesson? Thomas watched the quantum grid absorbing the last traces of Imperial energy. They will. And if they don't, next time we won't be so gentle. The Empire had lost more than a battle. They had lost their reputation as the galaxy's strongest power. And Earth had shown just a fraction of its true strength. 1 week after the failed invasion, Earth made its move. Lord Maxwell stood in the United Earth Council chamber, preparing to address not just the Empire, but the entire galaxy. Quantum transmitters would carry his message to every known world. Are we ready? He asked Walker, who was checking the broadcast systems. Every species in known space will see this, she confirmed. Even the Empire can't block our quantum signals. Maxwell straightened his simple blue uniform and stepped onto the speaking platform. Holographic cameras activated, projecting his image across thousands of worlds. To all civilizations of the galaxy, I speak on behalf of Earth and all human colonies, he began. Recent events have forced us to reveal ourselves fully. The Galactic Empire's repeated attempts to invade Earth have failed. Today, we announce our response. In the Imperial capital, the High Council watched with growing dread. First Speaker Wren gripped his chair tightly as Maxwell continued. Earth hereby declares all human-controlled space off-limits to the Galactic Empire. This is not a request. This is not a negotiation. This is a statement of fact. The space around Earth flickered. Thousands of quantum beacons activated simultaneously across human space. Each one projected a massive holographic boundary marker, visible to every ship's sensors. These markers show the borders of human space, Maxwell explained. They are powered by quantum technology beyond the Empire's understanding. Any Imperial ship that crosses these boundaries will cease to exist. Any Imperial citizen who attempts to enter our space will be turned back. In various parts of the galaxy, Imperial ships tested the barrier. Each one that touched it simply vanished, erased from existence by quantum fields. To demonstrate that this is not an empty threat, Maxwell continued, watch your sensor readings carefully. He nodded to Admiral Thomas. The Admiral pressed a single button on his command console. Across the galaxy, Imperial sensor stations went crazy. Huge Earth ships appeared near every major Imperial world. They had been there for years, hidden by quantum fields, waiting for this moment. These ships have been in position since before you knew we existed, Maxwell said. They could have destroyed your worlds at any time. Instead, they waited, because humans believe in giving chances. The Imperial capital erupted in panic. Their most advanced sensors had never detected these massive ships hiding right above their worlds. But our patience has limits. Maxwell's voice grew stern. The Empire's age of unchallenged power is over. From this day forward, you will respect our boundaries, or you will face extinction. To emphasize his point, one of Earth's ships near the Imperial capital demonstrated its power. It fired a quantum beam into empty space. An entire asteroid field disappeared, erased from reality itself. To other species of the galaxy, Maxwell's tone softened. Earth offers friendship and protection. Any world that wishes to break free from Imperial control will find an ally in humanity. Our quantum barriers will protect you as they protect us. Across the galaxy, dozens of worlds erupted in celebration. Many had suffered under Imperial rule for centuries. Now, they saw hope. We didn't want this conflict, Maxwell concluded. We were content to build our civilization in secret, advancing our technology in peace. The Empire forced this confrontation. Remember that. In Earth Defense Command, Thomas watched as the quantum network registered hundreds of diplomatic requests from other worlds. Species that had feared the Empire for generations now sought Earth's protection. "It's starting," Walker said, monitoring the quantum feeds. "The Empire's subject worlds are already declaring independence. Their control is crumbling." Maxwell returned from the broadcast chamber. "How many worlds have requested our protection?" "Over 300 in just the first hour," Thomas reported. "The quantum barrier network is ready to expand whenever you give the word." "The Empire made a crucial mistake," Maxwell said, watching the diplomatic requests pour in. "They thought they were the most advanced civilization in space. They never considered that someone might have passed them centuries ago and simply chosen to stay hidden." The quantum beacons pulsed across human space, their message clear to all. Earth was no longer hiding. The Empire's reign was over. A new power had risen, one that offered not conquest, but protection. And any who doubted Earth's power needed only to look at the empty space where Imperial ships had tested the barriers. The age of humanity had begun. The Imperial palace shook as angry crowds filled the streets outside. First Speaker Wren watched from his window as thousands of alien species protested against Imperial rule. In just 1 month since Earth's declaration, everything had started falling apart. "Sir," an aide rushed in, "we've lost contact with the Orion sector. They've activated Earth's quantum barriers. Our ships can't enter their space anymore." Wren slumped in his chair. The Orion sector was the Empire's richest region, home to their largest shipyards. Now it was gone, protected by human technology. Meanwhile, on Earth's diplomatic station near Alpha Centauri, Lord Maxwell met with representatives from 50 former Imperial worlds. The station's quantum shields glowed softly, keeping them all safe from Imperial interference. "Earth welcomes you to the Free Species Alliance," Maxwell announced to the gathered aliens. "Your worlds are now under our protection. The Empire cannot touch you." One alien representative, a tall being with crystalline skin, stood up. "The Empire ruled my people for 1,000 years. How can we be sure they won't return?" Director Walker stepped forward, activating a holographic display. It showed Earth's quantum barrier network, now protecting hundreds of worlds. "Watch this," she said, typing commands into her console. Near the Imperial capital, one of their warships tried to enter protected space. It vanished instantly, erased by the quantum barrier. The alien representatives gasped. "That's what happens to any Imperial ship that tries to cross our boundaries," Walker explained. "They don't explode. They never existed. The Empire can't fight what they can't reach." Back in the Imperial capital, the High Council met in emergency session. The room was half empty. Many council members had already fled to Earth-protected territories. "We've lost 40% of our worlds," the intelligence chief reported, his voice shaking. "Our economy is collapsing. The humans aren't just protecting rebel worlds. They're sharing technology with them." High Commander Dax, still haunted by his defeat at Earth, spoke up. "We must strike now, before more worlds leave." "With what ships?" another council member asked. "Our best fleets were erased at Earth. Our remaining ships can't cross their quantum barriers. We can't even spy on them. Their quantum fields block all our sensors." On Earth, Admiral Thomas reviewed reports with Grand Marshal Peters in the Strategic Command Center. The quantum network displayed the Empire's deteriorating situation in real time. "Another 100 worlds requesting protection," Peters noted. "The Empire's falling apart faster than we predicted." Thomas studied the tactical display. "Their military is deserting. Imperial ships are surrendering to our barriers, begging for asylum. Their crews want protection too." In orbit above the Imperial capital, a massive Earth ship appeared suddenly, dropping its quantum cloak. Panic spread through the city as its shadow fell over the Imperial palace. The ship's commander broadcast on all frequencies, "Attention Imperial citizens. Earth offers refuge to any who wish to escape Imperial control. Our quantum fields will protect you. Choose freedom. Thousands of Imperial citizens rushed to their ships, heading for the Earth vessel. The Empire's own people were abandoning it. In the Free Species Alliance station, Maxwell met with his advisors. The Empire's collapse was inevitable, he explained. They built their power on fear and control. We offer protection and freedom. They never understood that true strength comes from cooperation, not conquest. Walker's quantum sensors detected more activity. The Empire's outer regions are declaring independence. Their governors are requesting our protection. At this rate, the Empire will be reduced to their home system within weeks. On the Imperial capital, Ren watched helplessly as more ships fled toward Earth's protection. The mighty empire that had ruled for thousands of years was crumbling before human technology and human values. How? He whispered to his empty council chamber. How did they become so powerful without us knowing? The answer appeared on his screen. A message from Earth. We grew strong because we learned from our own history. We prepared in secret because we saw what empires do. You thought you were expanding your power. Instead, you showed the galaxy that a better way exists. The age of empires is over. The age of freedom has begun. The quantum barriers pulsed across space, growing stronger as more worlds joined Earth's protection. The Empire wasn't just losing power, it was being erased from history, one world at a time. 3 months after Earth's declaration, the once mighty Galactic Empire had shrunk to just 5 systems around their capital world. Admiral Thomas stood on Earth's newest diplomatic station, watching ships from 100 different species pass through the quantum gates. Final report from the Imperial capital, Director Walker said, entering the observation deck. First Speaker Ren has resigned. Their government is in chaos. Through the station's quantum windows, they could see the new reality of the galaxy. Earth's protective barriers created visible blue lines in space, marking the boundaries of free territories. Within these lines, thousands of worlds were building a new future. In the Free Species Alliance headquarters, Lord Maxwell met with the newly formed Council of Worlds. Representatives from over 500 former Imperial planets gathered to shape their future. Earth never wanted to rule the galaxy. Maxwell addressed the Council. We hid our true power for centuries because we saw what the Empire did to others. We advanced our technology in secret, preparing for the day someone would try to conquer us. The crystalline being from earlier sessions stood up. But why help us? You could have simply protected Earth. Maxwell smiled. Because humans learned from our own history. We know that true peace comes not from conquest, but from cooperation. Not from fear, but from mutual protection. On the former Imperial capital, the last Imperial Council meeting was being held. The room that once controlled the galaxy now held just a handful of defeated leaders. We should have listened to our first scouts, an old council member said sadly. They warned us about Earth centuries ago. They said there was something different about these humans. High Commander Dax, now stripped of his rank, nodded. They were preparing while we were conquering, building while we were destroying. And we never saw it until it was too late. In Earth's Strategic Command, Grand Marshal Peters reviewed the final statistics with Thomas and Walker. The Free Species Alliance now protects over 2,000 worlds, Peters announced. Our quantum barrier network covers 1/3 of the galaxy, and more worlds join every day. Walker's quantum sensors picked up a new signal. The last Imperial fleet has surrendered. They're requesting protection under our barriers. Thomas watched as the Imperial ships crossed into protected space. How many Imperial citizens have we taken in now? Over 10 billion, Walker replied. They chose freedom over empire, just as we predicted they would. In orbit above Earth, massive screens showed scenes from across the galaxy. Former Imperial worlds celebrated their freedom. New trade routes opened between protected systems. Species that had been enemies under Imperial rule now worked together, sharing technology and resources. Attention all commands. Thomas broadcast across the quantum network. The Empire has officially surrendered. All human space forces stand down to peace status. Earth's mighty warships powered down their weapons, but kept their quantum shields active. They would remain guardians, not conquerors. In the Free Species Alliance Council chamber, Maxwell made the final announcement. The empire that threatened us is no more. In its place, we have built something better. Not an empire of fear, but an alliance of free worlds. The council erupted in cheers. Representatives from thousands of worlds celebrated together, protected by human technology and human values. Back on Earth, Thomas stood with Walker and Peters, watching the celebrations across the galaxy. "You know what the Empire never understood," Walker said, studying the quantum feeds. "We weren't just preparing for them. We were preparing for any threat to freedom." Peters nodded. "They thought conquering was power. We knew that protecting others was true strength." Throughout the galaxy, Earth's quantum beacons pulsed with steady blue light. They were no longer just boundary markers. They were symbols of a new age. An age where technology served freedom, not conquest. Where strength meant protection, not control. The final Imperial transmission reached Earth's command center. "To all humanity. You did not just defeat an empire. You showed us a better way." Thomas smiled at the message. "We didn't want to ban their empire. They forced us to. And in doing so, they helped us create something greater." Across the protected worlds, a new saying spread. Earth didn't conquer the empire. They freed the galaxy. The age of empires was over. The age of humanity and freedom had begun. And this time, it would last.